There is an incredible amount of detail in this artwork. Everywhere you go, you'll find something interesting, and it could be the smallest detail that reveals an epic story. And this is possibly one of the best examples. Just down in the bottom left hand corner, that's just circled there, you can see an interesting depiction here, beautifully stylized. Essentially, this represents the supercontinent cycle that has formed Australia and all the other incredible features throughout the world there. Tilting it on its side there, reading it from left to right, is spatial temporal journey of the continents as they merged out of the molten lava beginnings of Earth, when Earth was all just a ocean of lava. And this is a simple depiction of that spatial temporal journey of the supercontinent cycles over the last 2 billion years. Up at the top left hand corner, you can see the number 2000, and 2000 represents 2000 million years, or 2 billion years of this incredible journey. And just below that, you can see these branches coming in, the Pilbara, the Yilgarn, and the Gawler, embryonic beginnings of the core of Australia that was amalgamated during the first supercontinent cycle, and that is in reference to Nuna, when the Australia was effectively formed. Western Australia, Northern Australia, the top end of Queensland, and also South Australia was formed and loosely compacted together during Nuna, and that pretty much ended about 1.7 billion years ago. And then the supercontinent cycles, as they amalgamated, they break up, and this particular case for Nuna, they kind of loosened up, and then they converged and amalgamated into the next supercontinent cycle there, and that was Rodinia. Rodinia formed about 1.2 billion years ago. That's the peak amalgamation there, and at that point South Australia docked on to Western Australia. Northern Australia created the Musgrave Ranges, and essentially Central Australia is what we're showcasing in this particular piece of artwork. So Rodinia was an important stage in the development of Central Australia. And as Rodinia broke up, beginning about 850 million years ago, when Australia was locked in with proto-North America, it started to split apart, and in doing so stretched Australia and created the Amadeus Basin there. Eventually proto-North America moved off and began the formation of the Pacific Ocean, and by about 750 million years ago, Rodinia had completely broken up. But then the supercontinent cycle persisted, and then again started to re-amalgamate. In this case, it came together as Gondwana. Gondwana has been around for over 500 million years. There is pre-Pangea Gondwana, and there's post-Pangea Gondwana, and Gondwana started to form when Laurasia or Laurentia split off and headed up towards the northern hemisphere, and Gondwana remained fairly much intact. But then beginning about 320 million years ago, that's when Pangea started to form, the biggest of all the supercontinent that ever existed there, and essentially formed from pole to pole there, when Gondwana Laurentia reconfigured and lasted about 150 million years, and then it began to break up about 180 million years ago to the different continents that we see today there. So they're branching off, and the Laurasia or Laurentia headed up north, created Europe and North America, and Gondwana then broke up South America, Africa, India, Australia, and Antarctica were the last continents to actually separate from Gondwana. Australia fully separated from the Antarctica about 35 million years ago and became an island continent in its own right, and that's when it became very unique biologically as well, and has continued that incredible journey, and today it is moving up back towards the equator, and eventually it'll join up with the continents again in the next supercontinent cycle that will all reconvene up in the northern hemisphere to create Amasia. Africa and all the other continents will come together. Australia will eventually move in next door to China, and that will happen about 70 or 80 million years from now. So this incredible cycle that we see throughout deep time gives you a sense of how plastic and how dynamic the Earth is. It's not just solid rock. And if you have a look at the depiction of the supercontinent cycle, it echoes the songlines or travelling stories that the Central Australian Aboriginal people refer to, the elements, the totems that join together and transform through creation and destruction the environment, and even as they move off they are creating interesting features there. So the songlines that you have right across Central Australia echo the spatial temporal journey of these continents, as you can see beautifully in Ben's artwork there. It's quite an incredible mirror image of reality.